So this is where we're at. So what I'm going to do is let me share my screen here. I'll sort of share how I've got things structured here. Okay. So this is the Discord group. Uh, Keep Calm and Refactor. I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and she said that is really an awful name. You need to change the name. So we'll see. Um, and these are people who've either been in the program or are supposed to be here. Looks like it's going to be just you and me today. So I'll go ahead and record everything. This is where you should get an email with the link. I set it up so that Zoom should send you an email, I know, at least an hour before the meeting, that sort of thing. But I'll also put it here just in case. This is sort of the place that I've got. Alternatively, I have this this program that's called basically it's a site called UpCoach. Basically, this is where I've got all the different cycles I've run this, and so basically each one has I'll record the session. I'll have a lesson. There'll be exercises. So what we're working on is yeah, that's cycle 3. Should have a cycle. I guess I don't have it set up properly. I'll have a cycle 4 by the end of the evening. So, but yeah, what you'll do is you can, if you want to see previous recordings, you can get to that, um, and you'll just um, you'll you'll bring up the session and click start, and then here. So this is what you should see. It'll have a file to download, and it will have an exercise. Today is going to be pretty simple, just because it's just sort of an introduction to uh, what everything is about. So you should have received a link to both of these, to the Discord and to the UpCoach site. Have you received that?
Yeah, I think I received the Zoom link, but not the other one.
Got the Zoom.
Let me
Okay,
double check.
so all right. So I'll double check that you got the access to this. Rochelle is here. Hello, Rochelle. Welcome. Glad you could make it. I'm sort of giving an overview of the tools we use and how things will work. So and today we're just going to start with a session where we talk about the mindset we need to have for being successful. So let's just Rochelle, can you hear me? Are you speaking? Are you able to speak? Okay, guess not. All right. So can you see my screen here?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, sorry, I'm muted because I have a bunch of background noise going on, but yes, I can hear
Okay.
you.
All right. Just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure you understood everything and how it's all set up. All right. So basically, let's go to the beginning here. We're starting with the first idea of what we need to do to really take a different perspective on our career and sort of set the groundwork for why it is we want to do all this. And the first thing is we need to develop, I call it the entrepreneurial mindset. Some people call it the owner's mindset, but it's just you need to own your career and the work that you do, and know that basically the only one who cares as much as you do about your career is you, and maybe your mom, but that's really doubtful. So so let's start with some questions. How long have you been employed as a software developer? I want to keep this kind of interactive.
I'm
Uh,
not.
Oh, okay. And how about you, Aaron?
uh, 8 years,
Okay, about
eight
eight
plus
years.
years. Yeah.
Okay, so you've got some experience behind you, and you've you've learned a bit. Have you tried other careers? I know I've tried a couple of different things.
Yeah.
I've been
Um,
doing this for about 40 years. I need to answer the questions too. So for almost 40 years. So how about you?
yeah, I started off as a desktop technician, the IT support, and then also was exposed to some development in that role. Um, and then gradually, transition to what I wanted to do, which is software engineering. And yeah, so
Nice.
I
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, once I graduated college, I've just been in software development. I went through a period where I really thought I was bad at this and had no business doing software development because I'm bad at it. I'm not making the world a better place, and I I should not be I should not be doing this. And I had a revelation that that no, there are better ways to do this, and there are systems that you can follow, and there are techniques for making sure that the code you write is actually high quality, and that's what I plan to share with you here. So, but yeah, I tried to get into sales and marketing and coaching and all kinds of stuff, and this is the only thing that I've stuck with. How about you, Rochelle?
Well, I'm feeling like the baby in the room because I have
That's
zero
okay.
experience.
Yeah.
Um, I've been wanting to get into like IT help desk, something that could kind of get my foot in the door. And I've tried applying around, but I don't have the experience to quite land that yet. I'm hoping to find something mm, like smaller startups or something like that who are willing to kind of take a chance, or somebody who's willing to train me because I learn quickly about, and I have a lot of sort of home tech experience, but not like formal um
Okay.
formal training or and I don't have a degree, which I'm actually, so I have my associates now finally, but I'm thinking actually about going back to school for computer science to kind of try and boost my knowledge.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll see if we can shortcut that for you. All right.
That
So
would be
what got
wonderful.
what got you into doing software development?
I'm definitely uh interested because my dad's an engineer.
Hmm.
He started in hardware and moved into software development, and I learned a lot from him. I also am a creative person, and I have been wanting to sort of merge my tech interests with art in video gaming, game development, sort of um, bit of coding and also a bit of game design, bit of art, kind of a smudge of all those things. So
Very good.
that's sort of the goal, is to move into making video games someday.
Cool.
Um, I don't want to stay stagnant in what I'm doing now.
Right. I hear that. Okay. How about you, Aaron? What gets you into software?
Um, I don't know if I thought of any other career growing up.
Yeah.
Um, ever since I got my first PC set up as a kid, and all the other friends around me also, my best buddies were also, on the same path and trying to pursue this career. And I went for school for this, but I think I discussed this mindset kind of battle, right? One is trying to be the best, the other part is just living a mediocre life, right? So that experience kind of held me back to,
Mhm.
to become um, like the high top performer
Right.
at my work. So I guess to answer your question, yeah, I never thought of any other career. I always wanted to do this, but I just didn't have the revelation earlier that you mentioned, right?
Right.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, I was about 25 years into my career before I had this revelation. So we'll see if we can shortcut it for you too.
yeah, that would be great.
Um, what would you say has been your best work experience? Like for me, I remember I got a job at a place near downtown where we basically worked inside this big 4-story mansion. The whole company was in this mansion, and we would sit on the front porch in these big rocking chairs and design out what the database ought to look like and how the application ought to work. And it was an absolute high point in my career. And so it was a really cool experience.
I don't know if I can answer this question since I don't have experience
That's
in
okay.
this field.
That's okay.
Yeah, for me, I'd say um, after a lot of hustle, a lot of like staying up late and working on a project, and you finally be able to pull it off, right? Deliver the deliverables. I think that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Shipping is always a good feeling. So, all right. And yeah, right. And that's what makes it awesome. Is it's a huge relief, right? Um, and I think you already said that what this is what you wanted to do when you started, right? Software development, Aaron. And
yeah,
yeah, I know. When I was in high school, I went to a career day, and I saw a computer there, and I said, "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen." And that's when I decided I wanted to do computing, and that's what I've always wanted to do. So, and since Rochelle's just getting started, I'm sure this is what you want to do. And so,
My background was because I was going to go in the medical field, so we're taking a big pivot.
oh wow, very cool. Yeah, it's that's a
All of my
completely
classes were biology and chemistry and anatomy,
yeah. Now you're
and then I
doing more
decided it
math.
wasn't for me.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely don't want to be halfway through what do you call it, a residency, and realize you don't want to be a doctor. My
Yes, I had that revelation early.
my son was telling me he connected with some of his high school friends. Um, he's in his late 20s, and he has a friend who just finished studying to be a dentist, and I guess he's been practicing as a dentist for a couple of years, and he said, you know what, I just can't see myself doing this the rest of my life. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, dude,
That was exactly my
now is not the time
problem.
to find that out.
Yeah.
So
I that's why I pulled the plug early.
excellent. That's very prudent, very wise. Okay, so so what I want to tell you is, basically you are the boss of your career. This is You are in charge of your future here. Um, and let's see here. Can I copy that? Yeah, I I'll just type it into here. Y8SABA2. All right. So that should be the link to the questionnaire. We're going to go over these questions, so you don't need to worry about it right now. But basically, if you think about the project you're working on, and you think of any consultants who are working on that project, they work differently from the employees, more than likely. What are the concerns that a consultant would have? Because they pretty much own their careers. They're not waiting for the boss to give them a promotion or a pay raise or anything. So they've got a completely different approach for how they look at the look at how they're spending their time every day. So first, what would I focus my time and effort on every day if I were a consultant? Is it making sure that I'm having a good report at the stand up meeting? Is it making sure that I get what's assigned to me done? That's what you would do as an employee. But if you're a consultant, what am I doing? I'm making sure every day that I'm focusing my time on having a connection with everyone on the development team so that I know who has what strengths and who has the weaknesses, so I can connect the people with the strengths and the weaknesses, and I can fill in for the weaknesses of the team and make sure that I'm spending my time being uh, the source of strength in some area. So I know something that other people don't, so that I'm constantly um, I'm the one that they go to for technical information, for career information, for industry information, because I'm the consultant. I'm the one that people go to. And if I'm not adding extra value that the rest of the team doesn't have, then I'm not needed. If all I'm doing is, warming a chair and getting a little extra work done, they can hire a temp worker for that. But as a consultant, I'm going to make sure that I have more value to bring to the table every day. Does that make sense? Um, yeah, things that I'm concerned about, the budget, the tools that we use, the staffing. I'm concerned about making sure that everything that I do every day is adding to the bottom line of the company. I'm adding value to the company. I'm adding value to the customer. I'm adding value to my coworkers, and I'm especially adding value to the decision makers, the what do you call it? The the owners of the project, the ones who make the financial decisions. Also, consider if my contract is scheduled to end in 6 months, what do I need to do now to ensure that my contract is renewed? Right? If I'm constantly worried about what are they going to keep me on 6 months from now, then I'm constantly going to be making sure that I am keeping my skills as up to date as possible, that I'm learning whatever I can, that I'm connecting with the decision makers so that if this group looks like it's starting to wind down, there's another group that is spinning up and is going to be looking for people, and they will be looking for me. It's easier to get rehired by the same company than it is to have to go out on the street and hang out a shingle and look for new work. I like to tell the story of the worst guy that I ever hired. He was absolutely worthless. He took credit for work that he didn't do, and he really didn't do anything. But he did one thing that was absolutely brilliant, and I to this day I'm amazed. He put together a weekly status report that he sent to management, and he basically took credit for all the work that was done, and he it was beautifully formatted, and he made sure that when he was at the meetings, he was taking notes at the meetings, and he would put together a report at the end of the meeting, a status report at the end of the meeting, to send it out to everyone who had attended with to-do lists for everyone and all that sort of thing. He was brilliant at putting together reports that appealed to management. And after about a year, he found another job. And frankly, I was relieved because he was a drain on everybody who was working. But he didn't get anything done. Management was just furious. How could you let this guy go? He was amazing. He did such amazing work. How could you let him go? And it occurred to me that that what I do is not as important as what people think that I do. So I have to be constantly selling myself within the organization. Does that make sense? Again, nobody cares about my career more than I care about my career. And if I'm spending extra time working on this particular project, I need to make sure my boss knows that I'm spending extra time working on this particular project. I make it a point, in my work right now, I'm the only one who I'm the only developer on this project, so nobody really knows what I do. So I make it a point once a week to send an email to my boss, to other stakeholders in the project, and let them know this is what I worked on this week, this is what I got accomplished, this is what I plan on working on next week, and these are important dates coming up that you might be concerned about, holidays and vacation that will, that I'm going to be taking advantage of. So, and they find that very helpful. It's a small thing, but it matters a lot. I can't encourage you to do that too much. How should I allocate my resources? I've only got so many hours in a day. So if I'm the boss, I've got to decide how I'm going to allocate my time and how I'm going to allocate my money. I've only got so much money, so I need to make sure that I'm spending money that benefits the company. I'm not just getting a cool new toy for me to play with because it would be fun. I'm getting licenses that are valuable to the company and are going to help the project to succeed. What do I need to do to make sure I'm ready to search for another contract in case this one is not renewed. So I need to keep my, keep my ear to the ground. I need to see what's happening in the industry, what technologies seem to be gaining in importance, and what can I do to make sure that I am informed enough on that technology, have at least some personal experience, and can speak eloquently on that technology so that if I need to look for a job or a new contract, that people think I'm competent in this technology. So I'm constantly trying to develop new skills. I'm constantly doing market research on what's happening, and I'm always networking. I'm going to meetups and conferences, and even they say that you should never go to have lunch alone. You should make sure that you're spending lunch with somebody to make sure that you know what's going on within the company and outside the company. So be constantly networking. It's a constant sales job. What tools do I want to have on hand, whether or not the company provides them? I tell a story about one day I was getting my hair cut, and this scissors salesman came into the salon and was trying to sell hair cutting scissors to the hairdressers. And the woman who was doing my hair sent him away. Said, "Yeah, he brings the cheap stuff. Those scissors are only like $200 or $300." I said, "What? That's the cheap stuff?" And she said, "Yeah, I usually, when I go to a hairdresser's conference, I'll get the nice ones." I said, "How much do those usually cost?" "Oh, those can be, they'll start around $500. Oh, they can run well over $1,000 for a nice pair of shears." Holy mackerel! So and also I have to get them sharpened at least once every few months. So I'll pay probably $30 per shears to get them sharpened. I thought, I know how much I'm paying her to cut my hair for an hour, and I know how much I'm being paid for an hour, and I know how much I complain when the company doesn't buy me the latest license of IntelliJ. And you know what? I can afford to have my own tools. And so yeah, I realized that the company is not going to be necessarily buying the tools that I need. So I'm willing to pay for the tools and the training. My company doesn't send me to conferences. So I pay my own way to go to conferences. Or what I've started doing is I've started speaking at conferences, and they will. So I only pay for the trip out there. Sometimes they'll even cover that. But I make sure that I'm not going to worry about spending $50 or whatever, $20 a month on ChatGPT. If I think that that's what I need for my work, for me to be more successful in my career, I'm going to pay $20 a month for ChatGPT. That's just all there is to it. How do I establish myself as the team leader within the team and with the rest of the organization? How do I let them know what I know so that if there is a need for that knowledge, they know who to go to? Again, this is, you take people to lunch and you talk to them and you find out what their strengths are. And you sort of name drop, if you will, the skills that you have and the projects that you've worked on, so that they know that you can help in certain areas. If a particular question comes up, you are the consultant. You are the consultant, whether or not you have the title. And as you develop in your career, you can mentor some of the younger developers so that they will come to you for questions, and then your network can grow through them. Also, Rochelle, as you're new in your career, it's important for you to attach yourself to someone who is more experienced. I know somebody and can help you.
I think I know somebody.
and help you.
I wonder where I can find somebody.
Yeah, I bet you could find some. Yeah. But help you learn the ropes and learn how to advance in your career, especially within the company that you're in. You know, find somebody in the company that can help you increase your contacts and your influence within the company. So those are the questions that we need to ask when we're approaching our career. I was listening to an interview recently of this woman who builds up businesses and that sort of thing, and she talked about you know having owner's mindset, and I wrote it down. She said basically, she suggested that what you can do is, rather than say that's not my job, how often have you heard that? You can basically say, you can see where there is something that the company needs, that if they had it, it would add great value to the company. And you can offer to do that in and ask for some reward for doing that. For instance, say there's a product that you sell, and there's an industry that you're not really selling it into, but people in this industry who could use this product. You could say, I could introduce this product to some of my friends who are in, if you're working in the chemical industry and you see how the medical labs could use this as well, you say, I can introduce this to my friends in medical labs. Would I get some sort of a commission if we were to sell it to someone there? There are very few managers who would say no. Very few company owners who would say no to something like that. So if you look for opportunities within the company where you can add extra value, and this is a way that the company can win and you can win, and you gain more influence and your reputation grows. So so this is sort of the first thing I wanted to introduce, because it's kind of the baseline for everything else we're going to be talking about. You own your career, and it's your responsibility to improve your influence and increase it in some way every day. And this list is designed to help you just ask questions of yourself, and how can I add value today and influence people and advance my career. So is this helpful? Any questions, concerns, anything else you have on your mind?
That all seems pretty straightforward to me. Common
Yeah, it's
sense.
very helpful. Reminds me of a friend who recently told me, he's a solo entrepreneur. He said who recently started working for a company, and he always remind himself to stay in this entrepreneur like lane, although he's now working as a FTE. And he told me that when you work for a company, don't fall into that employee mindset. Always think yourself as a consultant. So I think you touched upon exactly the same point, here.
Right.
Yeah,
that has probably been the most important mindset change for me in my career. Is I spent, like I said, my first 20 years easily in my career frustrated that I wasn't moving ahead, frustrated that my boss didn't know what I was working on, frustrated that I nobody appreciates what I do. Well, they don't know what I do. I hadn't told them what I do. I just figured that they should know. Well, how would they know if I don't tell them? And you when this guy that I had hired and and he took credit for all the work that I was doing, and they were praising him. So, well, why wouldn't he take credit for it? I wasn't taking credit for it. I was just doing it. Someone needs to take credit for it. Someone needs to go and toot their own horn about it, and I wasn't doing that. And so my career uh, was not as good as it should be. So if I can help you to adopt this mindset and ask these questions of yourself on a regular basis, I think it will be really helpful as we move forward and in how you can apply this to your career moving forward. Okay. So we're finishing a little bit early. Since we have a little bit of extra time, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. Where are we? How do I do that? Pause. Nope. Man, all this technology stuff is hard.
To cover some of the AI content.
Yeah, cycle 4, I'm going to add a discussion of how AI can affect each aspect of the work that we do. My guess is that you already have at least some experience with at least ChatGPT and asking it questions on some things. What industry should I get into? What are more popular technologies that are out there, and how should I learn about it? And you can, I strongly encourage you to take advantage of not just ChatGPT, but all the other ones that are out there. Now I'm drawing a blank on it. Google Gemini, Amazon's, I forget what they've called theirs, but all the different AIs that are out there. Take advantage of them to help you in the work that you do. Every one of them is trained differently, and so they'll have different focuses and different strengths, and they'll have a different perspective. I will say that in general, when you're looking at using AI, don't think of AI as the guru on the mountain. Think of AI as a very persistent intern who is, you can ask this intern to do stuff for you, and they will do the most mundane things for you. But you're going to have to, A, describe it in very careful detail to make sure that they do what you want them to do. And B, you're going to have to check their work to make sure that it was done properly and that the answer that they give you is in fact related to what you asked. I remember a year or so ago, I was working on a project with somebody, and we were updating some documentation. And we thought, well, we're documenting this open source project. Why don't we just have the AI go and describe what this function does? And so we loaded it up into ChatGPT and said, please explain what this software does. And it it gave a very confident answer. And we're like, well, that's really cool. It explained it really well. And then we started reading and thought, wait, no, that's not what it does at all. That you've totally missed the point on this. And the sample code you're giving that uses it doesn't even compile. So yeah, no. Okay, we need to be more careful in how we create the prompts that we submit to our AI to make sure that it actually does the work that we need it to do. So also, yeah, I have a presentation that I did on on using AI, I had 5 different AIs. I submitted a little 10-line function to the AIs and said, "Can you tell me what bugs you find in this code?" And each of them found a different combination of problems. Let's see if I can find that here. Yeah, yeah, I should have been prepared for that, but I wasn't. But anyhow, but yeah, it was really interesting to see which ones had what noticed which problems and that sort of thing were discovered. Let me see here. Nope, I do not have it. Oh well, that's the way it goes. But yeah, I had it. I had a Cursor and Grok and of course ChatGPT and um, um, Google uh, Google One Spark and yeah. Anyway, I'm just drawing a blank. Sorry. So if you have any other questions, you can feel free to reach out to me through the Discord or through email, or you got my number, so we can go through text message, or WhatsApp, whatever. I will make myself available to you to assist you in whatever you need if you have any questions or concerns. Okay?
Sure. I have one more question.
Sure.
So this Up Coach site, like, could
Yes.
you quickly go through each section? Like, I see there's habit section.
Oh, this
Yeah,
this
and
is
important links and accountability
this.
buddies and drive. So just could
Do
you
you
go
see
through
this in
them?
yours as well?
Yeah.
You see that? Okay. So yeah, basically, um, yeah, I don't know that I've really defined this, have I?
Some of them make sense. Like I know what to expect, like leadership courses, smart docs, and to-dos.
Right.
But what's the idea behind habits and drive and some of others?
Okay. So all right. So habits. This is a habit tracker. So there are apps you can get for your phone to do this, or you can use the site here to do that. You can add a new habit. For instance, let's say that you want to get into the habit of using um, what do you call a Pomodoro timer for at least an hour a day in the work that you're doing, just to make sure that you're able to get 1 hour of focused work done. And so what you can do is you can just add a new habit and say, okay, so for I'm going to do my Pomodoro timer, and it'll be an everyday thing, and I'll do it sometime in the morning, and I'll track metrics, and I'll add that in there. And so now I will say, okay, every day that I do it, I'll go in and say, all right, I did that today, and I'll have a check mark. So then I can track my progress on how I did that.
Okay, this is to share with the group.
Um, so yeah, so I'm not sure. I'll be candid with you. I have not. I've not added this. You can see I've got this checklist that I've added, 4 times now, because it's 4 different modules. Because I don't know how to link to the document properly within the application. I'm still figuring out how this tool works. So I don't know how it works. Um, but yeah, my
Sure, yeah.
suspicion is that
Helpful.
you can add habits for yourself. and I can go and add group habits for everybody to track.
I see.
Because I don't think you're able to add habits for others. You can add habits for yourself to make sure that you're doing something that you say you want to do. You know, like Rochelle may be wanting to find a new job, so she'll submit resumes every day. She'll go and check Indeed or whatever site she
Yeah,
wants.
it would be really helpful if you could define some winner's habit
Okay,
for software engineers. Then
absolutely.
yeah, as a group we could practice that.
Okay. Well, again, the Pomodoro timer is a good habit to get into. Let's just go ahead and add that in there. Uh, uh, one. You know what a Pomodoro timer is, right?
Yeah,
Pomodoro. Every day.
Is
Group.
that the one where you do things for a set amount of minutes and then you have a break for a set amount of minutes and then you do things again?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
basically,
I've seen YouTube music playlists that are like timed specifically for Pomodoro.
right. So basically, you go, is the one that I use. Should be red. Oh, yeah. The one that I used, yeah, it used to be tomatotimer.com, I think. Yeah. And it went away. So, yeah, let's just go to one here. Homofocus. Right. So you can say, all right, I'm going to have a 25 minutes, and I'll either have, when I'm done, I'll either have a 5 minute short break or a 15-minute long break. And I'll say, okay, this is the task that I'm going to focus on for this 25 minutes, and I'm going to go. Um, and you can create an account so you can track yourself that way. You can have look at the reports, and you can go and set your colors and everything that way. So yeah, this is a pretty nice one. Do they charge you money here? Login. So you got your free and your premium. What do you get for premium? Add projects, see yearly reports. Yeah. So, yep. No one does it for free. But anyhow, yeah. You can. Some people have apps on their phone. I actually have a physical timer that I keep on my desk. You know, kind of like this. And so that's the general technique that we use. Okay. So yeah, I will go ahead and add. I'll give some thought to that and add some techniques as we discuss it and as they become appropriate to where we are in the program. Fair enough.
Sounds great.
okay, sounds good.
Awesome sauce. Well,
Thank
um,
you.
I will
Thank you, Scott.
finish on time, and I appreciate you coming. And we will look forward to seeing you all next week.
Next week it is.
Excellent. Y'all take
Nice
care.
meeting you, Michelle.
Bye.
All
Nice
right.
meeting you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.